Good evening. As Dr. Noonan said, I will be presenting the district assessment report this evening, and I will be presenting 3 sets of assessment data. The first assessment data I will be presenting is the PARCC assessment data from 2016, and it will include grades 3 through 11 in English Language Arts and Math. That will be followed by the NJASK scores in science, grades 4 and 8. And that will be followed by the biology competency exam results. And the last set of data will be the high school assessments, advanced placement, SAT, and ACT. Just a little bit of a review in terms of the PARCC assessment data. Last year marked the second administration of the PARCC exam for college and career readiness. It was the first opportunity for us to review and compare year-to-year results, as the following slides will show. Our students took the English Language Arts literacy assessments in grades 3 through 11, and they also took the math in grades 3 through 8 and end-of-course assessments in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. This slide reviews the performance levels that students are scored on for the PARCC exam. Level 1 indicates that students are not yet meeting the grade level expectations, followed by Level 2, partially meeting, followed by Level 3, approaching, followed by Level 4, meeting the grade level expectations, and then Level 5, exceeding the grade level expectations. When I review the levels of our scoring, you will see that levels 4 and 5 are what equal the passing scores. So you'll see those percentages combined as level 4 and 5 are the passing scores. Additional information for your use this evening is to take a look at the Morris County comparative districts. These are known as the district factor groups. Madison is an I district. The district factor groups go from A to J, and the districts included in our district factor group are listed on the slide. And Harding is listed as a J district, and you can see the other districts that are listed as J districts. For your information, I think it's important to note that there are 6 variables used that are related to the socioeconomic status to determine the district factor groups. And they include the percentage of adults with college education, occupational status, unemployment rate, the percentage of people in poverty, as well as the median family income. This slide is an overview of our math scores in grades 3 through 11, and you will see that the blue represents 2015, and then the red represents the 2016 scores. For those of you that are seated any farther back than about 10 feet away from the slides, I'll be able to give you a summary. Basically, you'll see that we have an increase in student achievement at all 3 levels, elementary through high school, with marked improvement in grade 8 as well as Algebra 1. In grade 8, our students take either the grade 8 math PARCC test or Algebra 1. Out of all of 8th grade, we had 60 students take the grade 8 test, and then we had 123 students actually take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Our Algebra 1 scores listed here include 71 students at the high school that took Algebra 1. Also noted at the bottom, I think it's important for you to realize the participation rate at the high school for the PARCC exam. It's increased from 63.2% last year to 65.2% this year. You'll see at the end of the presentation that one of our goals is to continue to increase the participation rate at the high school for the PARCC exam, so that when you're looking at the high school scores, you need to realize that we are only representing a little bit more than half of our high school students in these score reports. This next slide is for the English Language Arts PARCC tests. Overall, our scores are similar in 2016 as they were in 2015. There was marked increase in grade 9 in English Language Arts. We also noted that there was a dip in grades 3 and grade 11 in English Language Arts. And you'll see at the end of the presentation that those have been noted as growth points for this year. Again, the participation rates for this year's test compared to last year at the high school are noted at the bottom. 63.2 went up to 65.2. Again, just a little bit more than half of our high school students participating in PARCC, which again is a goal for us this year. This next slide demonstrates the elementary math PARCC compared to both the DFGI, the DFGJ, and all of New Jersey, going from left to right. So the blue is Madison, the red is our comparative I districts, the gold is our DFGJ, and then the green is New Jersey. You can see that in grades 4 and 5 in math, we exceeded our comparative I districts. And in grade 3, we were a little below our comparative 3 districts in math. Next, we're taking a look at our junior school math PARCC scores. Again, comparing from left to right, Madison, DFGI, then J, and then New Jersey. And you'll notice that at the junior school, the percentage of students meeting or exceeding the expectations is higher than our comparative I districts in all levels. In 7th grade, we're actually 16% higher than our comparative districts in the I districts that we compare ourselves to. This next slide is an overview of our high school math PARCC scores. Again, left to right, comparing Madison with the DFGs, and then New Jersey. In Algebra 1, we're comparable to our I districts. In Algebra 2, we exceeded our I districts by about 27%. And then in Geometry, we exceeded them by about 10%. So overall, the high school is doing very well in math compared to our I districts. If you take a look at the language arts, again, beginning with the elementary, comparing us to the DFGs and the New Jersey. In 4th and 5th grade in ELA, we exceeded our comparative I districts, and then our grade 3 is slightly below. At our junior school, ELA, English Language Arts, exceeds our comparative I districts at all grade levels, grades 6, 7, and 8. In high school, English Language Arts, grades 9 through 11, we exceeded our I districts in all 3 grade levels. This next slide is a comparison of our 3 elementary schools: Central Avenue School in blue, Kings Road in red, and Torrey J in gold. It's important to note that our 3 elementary schools have varying percentages of economically disadvantaged students, English language learners, as well as special education students. And it's important to note that out of the 3 elementary schools, Central Avenue School is a Title I school, meaning that the percentage of students that are economically disadvantaged and English language learners is at a high enough percentage to be labeled as a Title I school receiving federal funds for their population. And this slide is the comparison of the 3 elementary schools, again, for English Language Arts. Going from left to right in alphabetical order: Central Avenue, Kings Road, and Torrey J. This next slide is a set of resources that are available not only on the PARCC website, but also on our district website. In the 3rd bullet, resources that are available for parents to understand more about the PARCC scores. Recently, the scores for individual students were sent home, and this slide shows how your child's individual score can be interpreted according to students at that grade level. And again, the performance levels are explained here on the right-hand side. So this particular student is at a performance level of 3, where their individual score of 745 puts them in that range. And this information is available in more detail, not only on the district website, but also on websites, for example, Understanding the Score and the PARCC website, in addition. The next set of data I would like to review is the NJASK Science. And this is an assessment that is given to assess our students' content and skill knowledge in the area of science in only grades 4 and 8 at the elementary and the middle school. This is a comparison of our students in grades 4 in 2015 and 2016, and you'll see that the scores have been about the same, not only in Madison on the left, but also in the DFGI, and then also in New Jersey. The scores have basically stayed the same across all three groups in 2015-16. It's important to note at this time that the state of New Jersey has required us to revamp all of our standards and our curriculum by September for the New Jersey standards to be aligned with the next generation science standards. So this year is the last year that we'll be taking this current NJASK science test. Next year in 2017-18, our students will be assessed on new standards as well as new curriculum that will be written this summer and be implemented in September of next year. So this data is the last year of the representation of this current test. In contrast, our students in grades 6 through 12 were required to have their curriculum reflect the new next generation science standards this current school year. So this coming May, they will be taking the new assessment reflecting the next generation science standards. So you see the scores here. There's been a slight decrease noted at the local, DFG, and state levels in the 8th grade scores, going from left to right. 2015-16, there was a slight drop in both Madison, DFG, and the state levels. And again, this May, they will be receiving the new assessment based on the new standards as well as the new curriculum that was written in Madison just last summer. And this final slide on science is reflecting the New Jersey Biology Competency Test. And you'll notice going from left to right, Madison, DFG, and state, we have noticed a slight decrease in our biology competency scores, and this is an area of focus for our high school Department of Science this year. The next set of data I would like to talk about is our high school assessments, AP, SAT, and ACT assessments. For this assessment, we looked back over the last 3 years, and the data we decided to display is the number of AP tests given, the percentage of the AP scores greater than 3, the number of students taking the exams, and then the percentage of students in grades 11 and 12 taking the exams. So you'll see that there has been a steady increase in the number of tests given as well as the number of students taking the exams. And there's been a consistent percentage of AP students scoring more than 3 in both 2015 and 16. I do have an additional handout regarding the AP tests, so you can see the list of the AP tests that were taken this year as well as the scores of those particular content areas, which I will make available for the public as well as for the board. That was added just this afternoon as a request. The next slide is our SAT reasoning results, again from 2014, 15, and 16. And you'll see that while our mean SAT scores are consistently higher than the state mean, we've noticed a drop in the number of students actually taking the SAT since more students have opted to take the ACT as a score. For those of you that are unfamiliar or just want to review, the SAT scoring has changed since 2016 when the highest score was a 2400. The new score now in 2017 for students graduating is a 1600. And it's also important for you to note that there is actually an app where you can convert your old SAT scores to the new SAT scores for your own information for finding out what will be sent to colleges. And the app is called the SAT Score Converter. So if you're trying to figure out how you are doing with your old scores and your new scores, they've already figured out how you can access that information. And the final slide for the high school scores is the ACT scores. And there's actually been an increase over 3 years in the composite scores of our students here in Madison. And there's been about a 20% increase in grade 12 of students taking the ACT, again noted by the decrease in SATs and then an increase in the ACTs. This is a slide that highlights some of our areas of strength. Overall, Madison is excelling in both literacy and math in elementary, junior, and high school when we compare ourselves to our I districts. There was marked improvement in 8th grade math achievement. I'd like to note here, if you remember, only 60 students take the 8th grade math. These tend to be our struggling students in 8th grade. The majority of our students are taking algebra. So to see that amount of improvement from one year to the next is certainly something to celebrate. And we also have consistent results in our AP, SAT, and ACT assessments with an increase in participation in AP and ACT scores. While we have a lot to celebrate, we're also recognizing that we have areas for strengthening, and I would like to go over some of the action steps that we at the in the curriculum department, as well as the administrators and teachers, have taken on to address those. You heard me mention several times in terms of grade 3 literacy and math, and I want to make it clear that that is the first year that the PARCC test is given, but we do recognize as a district that it is the years building up to 3rd grade that are also important in taking a look at those scores. So we've taken it upon ourselves to broaden our scope and really take a look at the kindergarten through 2nd grade as well as the 3rd grade in preparation for that assessment, and taking a look at our skills and processes up to that 3rd grade. So one of the things we've done in both literacy and math since this beginning of this school year is the development of trimester benchmarks. We went from 4 marking periods to 3 marking periods in the elementary school. Now receiving benchmark aligned report cards in December, March, and June, and really specifying what students need to know, understand, and are able to do at those 3 time periods. And that really has helped the teachers in helping them to understand and form assessments to better specialize what needs to be done with the students in cooperation with the parents, and helping our report cards to be more meaningful. We've also hired a literacy consultant to help us with K-2 professional development in literacy. And most recently, we've purchased something called Learning A to Z, which is a platform of licenses that are accessible to teachers as well as parents, with thousands of digital level texts, built-in assessment tools to help individual growth over time. There'll be a parent university on February 22nd for parents at Central Avenue School. All K-5 parents are invited to hear more about this resource. And in addition, I have purchased for the district, with the board's support, of course, additional classroom libraries to expand our nonfiction text, because we noted that many of our students needed extra skills and extra content area in nonfiction, which is an important area. So those have actually just been delivered this week, and those will be added to the classroom libraries in those grades. In the area of math, we have a math consultant, Mr. Bill Jackson, who is a national consultant in math. He's working with our teachers in those grade levels. And Kelly Bosworth has also been working on the Madison Teacher Academy workshops, offering some of those. In addition, we've purchased math manipulatives for our teachers to support our struggling learners who need more of a hands-on approach to learning math. And in addition, we have been developing some common assessments so that all teachers are giving the same math assessment in a grade level. Rather than making up their own assessments or using something from the book, we're certainly taking a look at patterns in that data to identify gaps in student achievement, both at the building level and then at the district level, so that we can address those together. The next area that we're focusing on is at the high school. as I mentioned, increasing our participation across the board. I do want to mention that as the Director of Curriculum, this is important not only for our score reporting, but also for us as a district to reflect on our curriculum. The PARCC assessments are aligned to the Common Core, the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, and in order for us to assess whether or not our curriculum is properly aligned, we really need full participation for us to determine how our students are doing. So as much as it is important for us to have that total student participation, it really does inform us as to how closely our instruction and our curriculum is aligned to the standards that we guide our curriculum to. As we dove a little deeper into the data that we received, again, with the limited participation, we did notice an area of English language arts and writing at the high school needed more of a focus, and I will talk about how we've responded to that. And we're also looking to take additional steps to expand our AP participation because we really feel that that's a wonderful indicator for our students' achievement. So just last month, we approved a plan, and it was approved by the board, to increase participation and focus on effort in standardized testing. There's also an increased focus at the high school on informational text in both science and history to get the interdisciplinary approach to reading and writing, informational as well as fictional text. We've actually just adopted this year a DBQ project. These are document-based questions which encourage historical inquiry, and we're implementing primary documents of text in the classrooms. We've continued with the Writing Center, where English language arts teachers are supporting students doing research and writing college essays. And we've also budgeted to expand our Newsela license through the high school as well as the middle school. And Newsela is helping students master nonfiction in any subject. All the articles are published with 5 different reading levels and are available for our students' use. And we are hoping that these steps will help us increase participation, but also improve our students' ability to read and write in the areas of nonfiction. Thank you very much. And that concludes the assessment presentation.